me what the specialist said in Dallas.
Darling, this isn't the time to go into medical details. But briefly, I will tell you that he said that my headaches were caused by a strain on the optic nerve. And he's prescribed this new drug that he's sure will have it under control. And he's told me to wear dark glasses occasionally.
Mother, I'm so relieved. I know Ben will be, too.
Oh, thank you, darling. But no, I really think you ought to see to your guests.
I will in a minute, Mother. I want to tell you something first.
Oh.
Jennifer and Morgan have been staying up at the main house.
Why on earth would they be doing that?
Well, I asked them to. I didn't want to leave the house empty with all your valuables lying around.
But where are they sleeping?
Well, Jennifer slept in the guest room, and Morgan slept in my old room.
But I never would have allowed anybody to be in your room.
Mother, I'm never going to use that room again, so what difference does it make?
Well, it's just that I simply would much have preferred the house to be empty than having strangers there whom I hardly know living in it.
Mother, it was my idea, so if you disapprove, please don't let Jennifer and Morgan know. I'm very fond of them, and I don't want them to feel as if they were intruding.
Look, darling, while we're on that subject, I really wish you would stop treating Jennifer and her daughter as friends or equals.
What?
Well, it makes my life very difficult trying to cope with Jennifer as a servant if you are going
I can't believe you just said that. Equals? Of course they're equals. I mean, the idea that people are inferior just because
I'm sorry to interrupt you, ladies, but I thought you'd like to know that Henry just announced how impressed he was with Ben's work, and he wants to buy a couple of his paintings for his private collection and do anything else he can to help him out.
Thanks, Robert. That's wonderful. Excuse me, Mother.
Oh, very good. Absolutely.
I just heard the great news. Oh, wonderful. Congratulations.
Yes, absolutely. You couldn't find a better sponsor.
I know. I don't know what to say, Mr. Chamberlain. Henry, please. And don't thank me. Really, it's my pleasure.
Now, Ben, when can you arrange for me to meet with Carter Bowden?
Well, let's see. He'll be back tomorrow or the next day at the latest.
Good.
Why do you want to meet with Carter?
Oh, well, Daddy wants me to find out absolutely everything there is to know about Ben's contract with Carter. And then he may want to buy it out if he can persuade his marvelous friend in Chicago who has an art gallery to show Ben's work there.
I could use the exercise after sitting around all day.
And thanks for helping me with my math and chemistry. I would have had to stay in summer school for 6 or 7 weeks.
Yeah, no sweat.
Well, maybe for you, you're smart, but well, I would have died if I had to stay in summer school.
Well, Morgan, that's just another emotional exaggeration, you know. You wouldn't have died. I mean, if you had to have gone through it, you would have made it.
Maybe. But it's the same, I'm grateful.
How about walking down to the part where it's deep enough to swim? Some of the students from Springfield U will probably be down there.
Well, sure. I love it here. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. It's pretty.
Oh, it's much more than that. It's as if it's completely cut off from the rest of the world. Where all the laws people make and the rules and regulations, they stop. Right there, top of that rock, when you first start hearing the sound of the water. And when you get closer, you can hardly hear anything else. Just sort of leave everything else behind. Sort of like another world. And nothing else is real.
It's not. It's just part of the same world that we were in when we started down here. The rules are all the same. Well, nothing's really changed at all, you know. Even though you can't quite hear the sounds you used to. because of the noise of the falls. But they're still there just the same. And they're just as real as those books you're carrying.
Okay, begin again as usual. Let's go down Mr. Scientific and find everyone else. You know, I may be emotional, but you miss a lot by being so dead on about everything.
Hi, Kelly.
Ed, hi.
Is anyone else here?
No, I drove Kitty and Hillary home. Just thought I'd take a swim, you know, before I turned in. Where's Rita?
I just dropped her off at her apartment.
Oh. You know, you two really look terrific on the dance floor tonight.
Yeah, that was fun. Crowd was a little young, though.
Nah.
You know, Kelly, I was thinking as I was driving home tonight, we haven't really had a chance to talk to each other very much, you and I, since I came back from Bluefield.
Well, I guess we've both been pretty busy.
Is everything going all right with you?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Is everything going all right at school?
Keeping my head above water, I guess.
Kelly, is everything really all right with you?
Hey, Kelly! Tim, we're over here by the pool.
I saw your car's parked in the driveway, so I knew you must be home. Hi, Dr. Bauer.
Hi, Tim. Listen, if you excuse me, I think I'll go inside and change my bathing suit and try to get a swim in before it's too late.
Listen, Dr. Bauer, would you mind hanging around for just a minute?
No? What's up?
Yeah. Well, I would really appreciate it if you didn't say anything to anyone about seeing Morgan and I at Dante's tonight. Even though we didn't go in or anything, I think Morgan's mom would be really upset if she found out we were there at all. And I know that Mike is really close to Mrs. Richards, so I just thought that I...
Okay, Tim, I won't say a word to anyone. But I think in future you should consider only taking Morgan to places that she's legally allowed to be. Then I doubt if anyone's going to ask me about it, so don't worry, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me.
Thanks a lot. Oh, man. I feel a lot better. I'm glad he was here so I could talk to him. Look, Kelly, I hope you didn't take all that stuff seriously that Morgan was saying to you tonight. I mean...
You know, I get pretty sick and tired of you coming over here and apologizing for her all the time.
What?
She's just too emotional for her own good, Tim. And I mean, the fact that you let her talk you into trying to get past that doorman at Dante's only proves that you're not using your head.
Hey, listen, Kelly.
No, you listen to me. Now, I'm going to tell you something that her mom said to me the night that I finally gave in and took her up to the falls to study. She warned me about giving in to Morgan like that because she just goes right on trying to get everything her own way. She's just too young to know what's good for her, Tim, and it's up to you to set her straight on that.
Yeah, okay, I know, but what are you getting so upset about?
I'm sorry, I'm just running off the mouth. Just forget it, okay?
Good evening, Morgan.
Oh, I'm sorry. For what? Well, I shouldn't be in here.
Oh, that's all right. I understand that you and your mother were staying here while I was away.
Oh, yes, we're moving into our bungalow tomorrow morning, though.
How nice.
Yeah, I'll go get my mother.
Oh, no, don't bother. I don't want to wake her. It's not necessary.
Oh, well, she's up.
I can't imagine who that is. Maybe it's Amanda. Maybe she forgot to tell me something.
Well, I'll get it while on my way up the stairs.
Thank you.
Miss Wexler, you left your scarf at the cottage. I thought it was a good excuse to have a few words with you in private.
Thank you for bringing it up, Mr. Chamberlain. And now, if you don't mind, I'm really quite tired after my trip.
No, I won't keep you long, Mrs. Wexler. I could see how upset you were at finding me there when you came.
Not at all.
It's amazing. I met you only once, years ago, and that very briefly, but I recognized you the minute you came in. You're as lovely as ever.
Thank you. But, you know, since I am not one to dwell on the past, I really see no reason to discuss that meeting now at this point.
Of course.
And I would appreciate it if you didn't tell anyone in Springfield about this, or your daughter.
Mrs. Wexler, I assure you I won't. Brandon Spaulding was my very closest friend. Everything I have, I owe to him. He stepped in once and saved my company when I was on the verge of declaring bankruptcy.
Oh, yes. He was a brilliant businessman. It was in that capacity that I knew him. He was my financial advisor.
Mrs. Wexler, let me spare you the effort of pretense.
I beg your pardon.
When Brandon died and his will was read, Alan was terribly upset. And nobody could figure out why he left the bulk of his estate to your daughter. But I think I understand the reason for it.
That's very nice of you to ask, Alan, but I really can't.
Oh, Amanda, please. I'd love to hear you play.
Yes, it would be the fitting climax to an exciting evening.
Thanks, Ross, but I don't think so.
Why not?
Well, it's late, and I have not practiced in months.
Oh, please. You know, I've never forgotten the first time I heard you play.
Also, it's Ben's night.
Oh, and we all know how talented Ben is, and we know that Mr. Chamberlain has been suitably impressed, and now it's your turn to prove how talented the women here are.
Amanda is an excellent musician, and I've been after her ever since we got married to return to the piano seriously again.
Really, I don't see the point in trying to persuade Amanda to play. She's already decided not to.
I really didn't mean to turn this into a major issue. All right, since you asked, I'll play.
Wonderful.
But first, I think I better call up to the main house, make sure we're not going to be disturbing anyone.
Because, you see, there was very little that happened to Brandon or to me that we didn't confide to each other. I'm sure it comes as no surprise to you that Brandon knew many women.
Really, Mr. Chamberlain, I find this conversation extremely distasteful.
No, all I'm trying to say is that you were the one very special woman in his life. I know he was terribly upset about that accidental meeting we had in Chicago because he never would have done anything knowingly to damage your reputation.
Mr. Chamberlain, I really must assure you that you are mistaken about the relationship between Brandon and me.
Not at all. He loved you very deeply. More than he ever loved anyone, before or after.
Oh, really, please, I must ask...
Oh, Mrs. Wexler, I didn't come here to upset you, but to reassure you.
Of what?
You need never fear that I'll tell anyone that my best friend and you were extremely close at one time. But I think he demonstrated that by leaving everything to Amanda.
Very well, Mr. Chamberlain. You're right. Brandon and I were very close at one time. But now I must ask you a question.
Well, what's that?
What exactly did Brandon tell you about Amanda? It's very important that I know. You mustn't leave before you tell me.